All right, welcome to this explainer. Look, if there is one skill you absolutely need to nail down in today's workplace, it's AI prompting. So today, we are demystifying two of the most foundational concepts out there, zero-shot versus few-shot prompting. By the time we're done, you're going to understand exactly how to use these two approaches to get way more reliable, hyper-tailored results out of your large language models. Let's dive in.
You know, getting an AI to actually understand what you want is kind of like giving a buddy directions to your house. You basically have two options, right? Option one, you just describe the destination, give them an address, and hope they figure it out. Or option two, you show them familiar landmarks and actually give them example routes that you know work. This perfectly mirrors zero-shot versus few-shot prompting. One relies purely on a clear description, while the other gives concrete, recognizable examples to guide the way. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to touch on the art of prompting, break down both zero-shot and few-shot techniques, compare their differences and costs, and then wrap up with a framework for choosing exactly the right approach for your tasks.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the art of prompting.
Why do we even care about how we talk to AI in the first place? Well, the prompting technique you choose is literally the absolute simplest way to get reliable results. You don't need to be a software developer for this. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars fine-tuning an AI on some massive database. By simply tweaking how you structure your prompt, whether that's adding examples or just giving clear instructions, you can steer the AI's behavior directly. It is a massive upgrade for $0.
Moving right along to Section 2, zero-shot prompting explained.
Let's start with the baseline, the one we probably all use every single day, zero-shot prompting. By definition, this means giving the AI a task without providing any examples of what you want the output to look like. You are forcing the model to rely entirely on the stuff it learned during its initial training. It's honestly like asking a highly knowledgeable colleague to help you out with a task they've never specifically done for your company before. You describe what you need, and they just use their general expertise to figure it out on the fly.
Okay, let's look at a concrete example. Say you run a support team and want to automatically categorize incoming tickets by urgency. With zero-shot, you just type, classify this customer issue as high, medium, or low priority. I can't access my account and need to submit a report by end of day. Now, the AI uses its broad understanding of language and urgency to just instantly know that's a high-priority issue. Boom. You didn't show it what high priority looks like, it just inherently gets it.
The real beauty of zero-shot, it's all about speed. You don't need to hunt down examples. The setup is incredibly fast. You literally just write your thought and hit enter. It works fantastic for general tasks where a standard interpretation is totally fine. Because of this, zero-shot is widely considered the absolute best starting point when you're just exploring a new idea or prototyping before committing to a bigger workflow.
Which brings us to Section 3, few-shot prompting explained.
So what happens when that zero-shot result is just a little too vague or generic? That is exactly when we turn to few-shot prompting. Instead of just relying on the AI's general training, you provide a handful of examples that show it exactly what you want. Think about it like onboarding a brand new team member. You wouldn't just verbally tell them what to do and walk away, right? You'd sit down, walk them through a few perfectly completed cases, and then let them handle it. You are establishing a clear pattern for them to follow.
Building on our customer service scenario, instead of just asking for a classification, you physically stack examples right there in the prompt. You say, okay, issue A is about a missing password reset email. That's low priority. Issue B is the payment system being down, high priority. Issue C is an invoice question, medium priority. And then you drop in the new issue. By giving it just 3 to 5 examples, you establish your own specific internal criteria. The AI sees the pattern, locks onto it, and applies it consistently.
This actually triggers a pretty fascinating concept that AI researchers call meta-learning. Meta-learning is the model's ability to adapt its responses based purely on the examples you've provided inside the prompt. It's learning on the fly. You don't need expensive under-the-hood coding or extra training. You're basically reprogramming its behavior temporarily, entirely within the context of your chat window. How cool is that? All right, let's compare these two head-to-head. Section 4, Key Differences and Costs. How does this play out in the real business world? Well, zero-shot is your absolute go-to for general content. Need a quick blog outline? Brainstorming ideas? Simple Q&A like finding out business hours? Zero-shot is perfect. Few-shot, on the other hand, is where you go for the specialized heavy lifting. Complex domain-specific classification, matching your exact brand tone of voice, or extracting highly specific clauses out of dense legal contracts. For those nuanced tasks, few-shot isn't just nice to have, it is pretty much mandatory.
If we look at them side by side, Accuracy with zero-shot can definitely vary if the task is too specialized or uses company jargon. Few-shot, though, incredibly consistent. Setup time is basically instant for zero-shot, whereas few-shot definitely requires some upfront effort to write and test your examples. The final verdict? Zero-shot for quick exploration and standard tasks, few-shot for custom formats and pinpoint precision.
But we do have to talk about the elephant in the room: costs. AI models process text in chunks called tokens, and most API platforms charge by token usage. Because zero-shot prompts are short, they use fewer tokens and keep costs very low. Few-shot, by nature, stuffs a bunch of examples into the prompt, making it longer. So yes, you are going to see slightly higher API costs per request. It's a classic trade-off, right? You're paying a tiny bit more in compute cost to guarantee a massive leap in output quality.
So, how do you actually decide? Section 5. Choosing the right approach.
Here is the biggest takeaway I want you to have from this explainer. You absolutely do not have to pick just one. These aren't competing methodologies, they're an evolutionary workflow. The absolute best practice is to always start with zero-shot and then evolve into few-shot only when you actually need to.
Here is your actual step-by-step game plan. First, always try zero-shot. It's fast, and hey, the model might surprise you. Second, evaluate what comes back. Is it getting the job done reliably? If it starts to miss the mark, become inconsistent, or wander off topic, step 3, evolve to few-shot. Oh, and of course, if you know right out of the gate that you need strict custom formatting or a specific brand tone, save yourself the headache and just start with few-shot.
All right, I'm going to leave you with this one provocative thought. Take a hard look at your daily tasks. Which of your current AI workflows, the ones that drive you crazy because the AI just doesn't seem to get it, could be fixed today by simply dropping 3 to 5 solid examples into your prompt? Seriously, a handful of good examples can completely transform your results without any complex fine-tuning. Try it out this week. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy prompting.